G'day guys, welcome back to another episode. Today is a very exciting one because I get to introduce our brand new transmission cooler kit for the Mitsubishi Pajeros, in particular for the automatic models because the manuals don't need it. So lucky you guys. But yeah guys, very excited to show you what's in the kit, how to install it and why you need it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Right guys, so let's get to the exciting part, and that's me showing you what's included in the kit. And everything is included. You don't have to buy anything as well because yeah, you can literally just open your bonnet, install it, and happy days. You don't need anything else, which is great. So let me show you what you get. So when you open up the box, you'll find your fittings in there. So just a bunch of clamps, rubbers, that sort of stuff. You also get stainless steel bolts, washers, spring washers, and nuts, which is great. And then we've also had these brackets manufactured here in Australia, which is awesome, and we also get our logo on it, which looks very nice. But yeah guys, we basically manufactured it in a way so you don't have to stick to this cooler only. If you already have a transmission cooler and you're just looking for a bracket set, we can sell these separately as well, and just to have a nicer finish. And you can also bolt it to your existing cooler, which is great. So yes, plenty of options that you can use with this bracket, just to make sure you're not just stuck with our own cooler, which is cool. You also get 3/8 hose to extend it, and also your barb joiner because you're going to need that as well. And then here's our cooler guys, so there you go. So it's a massive one. There's no point in grabbing a small one for an upgrade. So we made sure to get the biggest one we could find. It's made out of aluminium and it's also powder coated black. So you've got the longevity there because it won't ever rust. And same with the brackets and the bolts and everything. We made sure it's stainless steel just to have that longevity, and it's also very strong. So that's what you want. Also to compare it to the PWR cooler. So this is the heavy duty one that we had in our car. So side by side, as you can see, it's the same size. So it is a 28 row, in case you're wondering. So very cool. But anyway, I'll show you how to fit it, and I'll also put the PWR one in and this one just so you can see how it sort of fits, because the bolt patterns are different on each one. So I'll make sure to show you that in case you're wondering. But yeah, happy days, let's get it installed. Right guys, so once you've removed your grill, you'll have access to the working area. Now, as you can see, the Pajero does come with an oil cooler already. So just to clarify, the new cooler won't replace this one. It will work together with it. So it's basically going to be an accessory cooler. So we'll have two coolers instead of just the one, just to ensure you have maximum protection for your gearbox and everything stays nice and cool. You might also be wondering, what about if you have a lockup kit? Because that locks the transmission so it doesn't generate heat in the first place, which is absolutely true. So the two things you can do to look after your transmission while off-roading or towing is a lockup kit and a transmission cooler. Now the reason I'm saying you also need a transmission cooler is because when you're off-road, you're doing low speed, so you're not getting up to 30 kilometers an hour for the lockup kit to actually be effective and lock the torque converter. So that's where the torque converter is just going to slip doing the low kilometer stuff, and that's where you need the transmission cooler to keep things cool, because your lockup kit won't be active. So that's essentially the whole reason. So the standard cooler is good for a stock Pajero, but as soon as you add bigger tires, a lot of modifications, the vehicle is a lot heavier, and you're also trying to turn bigger tires, so the transmission will work harder, essentially overheating if you're going to punish it off-road. And I've seen quite a few times off-road getting up to 100 on the gearbox, which is getting too hot. And if you're going to push the vehicle further, you're risking damaging your transmission. So you definitely don't want to do that. And that's why I'm saying get a lockup kit if you do towing. But if you do off-roading majority of the time, get a transmission cooler, because that's the one that's going to keep things cooler than just the one transmission cooler. But anyway, let's now install it. Okay, so there's two of these brackets in the kit. So just make sure you grab one for now, and we're going to put it in here. So just make sure it goes against the car, so way at the back, and then push your bolt through. There you go, and just tighten it up. Just loosely for now is fine, just so you can move it around. That's good for now. Next up, you want to grab your long one. So there's the long bracket. Grab one of your bolts provided and put it through. Spring washer at the back, and then your nut. Perfect. And then on that side, you want to put your big bolt through, just like that there. And then you can grab your tool and make sure it's nice and tight. And this side as well. So I'll just grab a ratchet spanner, then make sure that's done up. So easy. So as you can see, it lines up perfectly over this side, and that's how you can make sure it's all good. So now you just want to tighten it. Just like that, plenty enough, nice and strong. Cool, and don't forget to tighten this one up as well. Cool, and the next one is way down the bottom there. So what you want to do is grab a 12mm as well. So I just use the ratchet spanners, they just work the best. So you don't have to take it out, just make sure it basically unscrews. There you go. And then what you want to do is grab your second bracket, and then this one just goes behind. So just over there. So that went through. And you don't want to tighten this one just yet, just keep it loose till we fit the cooler. Okay, so I'll just start off, I'm just going to show you basically how the holes line up. So this is the PWR one. So as you can see, the holes line up perfectly, and then basically there's just one down the bottom. So the bottom one will be that one there. That's going to go to that bracket. So if you were to use the PWR, that will work, and then I'll show you ours as well. Here's our cooler. So what you can do is it only has two holes, so you can basically just slide it around, see where it's going to fit best, but over there it's going to be perfect. And then what you want to do is line it up at the bottom as well. So at the bottom one, it will go to this one here. So yeah, you basically just got to line it up, and then you'll know. So if I line it up like that, there you go, it's going to sit something like that there. Alright, so when it comes to what way you should mount your transcooler, we've done some research, and the best way to mount it is to make sure the fluid goes in at the top. So have it like this instead of this where it's at the bottom. So when it's at the bottom, apparently it only uses half of it. So air can get trapped at the top, and that's why they say it should be this way. Fluid comes in, basically cooling all the liquid inside here, and it's also going to fill to the bottom because of gravity. So having air in there is less risk than it would be this way up. So it kind of makes sense, right? So the fluid comes in, it fills up the whole cooler, you'll cool all the coolant here, and then it goes back in. So yes, mount it this way and not this way. Alrighty, so what you want to do is grab your bolts, and we'll now just loosely put it in just to make sure it does line up with the bottom as well. So we'll put one there, we'll put in here. Alright, so let's just have a look. So it can move around, and I reckon that's going to be the best spot. So what you want to do is just lightly tighten it. Cool, so that's just lightly tightened, and then we want to make sure the bottom is also lined up. Right guys, so that's essentially what it's going to look like. So that is all bolted on. Now the bigger L-shaped bracket is at the top there, and then there's one at the bottom as well. So hopefully you can see that one right there. It's basically just holding, there you go, it's just holding it in, and it just goes to that bolt over there. And there you go, so it's nice and steady, And like I said, it just depends on the cooler that you use. If you use another cooler and the bottom bracket doesn't line up, you can just drill a hole through there at the bottom or wherever it is on your cooler, and you can make sure it all fits nice and snug. So as you can see, that is nice and stable. It's not going to rattle anywhere when you go off-road, so that's great. So what we'll now do is put the hose on and connect the hoses up in the correct manner. What we want to do is get this pipe off because we're now going to basically merge these two together. So we'll let this pipe go to the other side and then take the 3/8 hose that's applied in the kit and make it go from here to here. Now a little trick that I have, once you undo this hose, there's fluid that's going to run out. So take this little stopper here on your new cooler and put it onto this one just so it blocks the fluid from coming out. So that's just a little trick. But yeah, let's get that off. Alright, so when you're at the edge, grab this little sucker and chuck it on. There you go. And it stops it. Okay, cool. So now what we want to do is connect this hose to this end right here. So essentially the fluid's going to travel through the first cooler, then use the hose supplied to fit it from there to there. So it's going to travel through this cooler as well, and then it's going to go to the transmission. Alright, so as you can see, this one is a little short. So this is where you also need to put some hose on, and that's also where your barb comes in. So take your barb and then chuck it in there, and now what we're going to do is basically join the two hoses. So that went in nicely like that, and then we'll cut another piece of hose that's about that length, and then we'll connect it to this side. Okay, so here's your hose. So we'll put that one on there. There we go. Perfect. And then make sure it's not too short. It's just a nice length. So we'll cut about here. And then we know we have enough so it can kink and go onto that end there. So yes, we'll cut it right there. Also, don't forget to put the clamps back on, so you can use the factory one over here on this end of the barb and the new one supplied on the other end, and then you'll use another one when you put it on as well. Right, so we've just cut the hose shorter, but yeah, essentially that's now going to go there, and the new one's going to go in there. So next up, what we're going to do is fill it up with transmission fluid. So if you're not sure what fluid it is, I'll have it on the website, whether you have an NS Pajero or NT&W or NX. This is the one that's for my car, which is 2012 NW. So yeah, we're basically just going to use one of these bad boys, and then just tilt it in slowly, just till the cooler is filled up. Okay, so that is now all filled up. So the main thing is you just got to make sure it's full. So as you can see, it's filled up way to the top. Whether it's doing it with a Ziploc bag with a small hole at the end, or whether it's for a pump or whatnot, the main thing is just got to make sure it's full. So that's the main thing, guys. And then also what I'm going to do is also run fluid through the hose until this is full as well, and then I'll put it on, and same with this hose as well, fill it up, and then once it's full, put it onto there, and then that way it sort of minimizes getting air in there as well, and just so you don't lose any fluid. So yeah, awesome guys, so that's all fitted up and everything is super sturdy and looks very professional, which is great. So just have a look at all your clamps, make sure they are all nice and tight just so you don't get any leaks. Also just have a look at all the hoses, make sure there's no kinks or that they're rubbing against something sharp. There's also rubber provided in the kit if needed. Otherwise just route them a little bit differently just so you find the best spot for it. At the moment this is the best that we could get them, which is great. So there's no kinks, they aren't rubbing against anything, so it's good to go. So yeah guys, happy days. So something else just worth mentioning, so it does sit quite low, so it just sort of depends on the bull bar that you've got. So obviously if your Pajero is standard, it's going to fit. If you have a MCC bull bar or ARB bull bar, it will fit as well. If you do have an alpha 4-drive bull bar though, it might not fit because the winch cradle sort of sits in that spot over there, so it bolts to the frame there and then it runs across here to there. So it will fit, but if you have a winch, it won't, because the winch will sit there and it will be in the way. So that's just worth mentioning. I guess we'll sort of see what we're going to do, because the plan actually is to get an alpha bull bar again, and then we might have to come up with a different bracket design, but we'll see what we can do when we get there. But yeah, for now, that's sort of how it sits, and it will suit 99% of scenarios. So yeah, there you go. And I also just want to say a big thanks to everyone out there supporting us, because without you guys, we wouldn't be able to manufacture things like this. And you know, it makes me super proud to say that we've gone out, we've done the testing, we've done the development of the products, and yeah, it's been awesome. So we're very excited for the next financial year as well, to bring out new products that we design ourselves, and to give to you guys and make sure it's top notch and it works a treat. So yeah, thanks so much guys. If you have any questions, make sure to drop it down below. Otherwise, shoot us an email if you have any questions. But yeah, we're happy to answer any questions you might have. So yes, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. There's so many cool things coming, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Cheers guys, have a good one.